Namaste, beautiful. Welcome to practice. This practice is geared towards people who have quite a bit of strength already, maybe from working out at the gym or doing other kinds of workouts, who are looking to increase their mobility. And it's actually essential that you have some strength for this class, because what we'll be doing is using the strength to increase mobility. I think sometimes when a strong person is just starting out doing yoga and you just go straight into all the stretching stuff, it can be difficult to want to continue doing this stuff that is a weakness, right? But I think if we can use the strength, in this case is strength, to improve the weakness, then that might be a nicer way to A, to feel better, and B, to want to continue along this journey of opening, of increasing flexibility. And there are so many benefits, right, to increasing mobility. Of course, yeah, it feels better in the body, but it feels better energetically to be more open. It will help to experience more emotions, to open the heart. And when you have a more open body and you can be more easily allowing those emotions to flow through you, it will help with your mental health just as much as it helps with your physical health. All right, so let's go ahead and start standing, actually. So right off the bat, we are assessing our strength in just a simple standing position. So we're just going to stand with our feet about hip width distance apart and take the hands, bring them to heart center. And I'd love for you to close down the eyes here and to just feel the strength. So really rooting the feet into the floor here. I want you feeling the entire foot, feeling the whole ball of the foot, feeling the heels, feeling the outsides of the feet, feeling the toes, gripping the floor. And then I want you to feel both the energy from the earth, and I want you sending also your energy into the earth. Just really connecting to the earth here. And then I would love it if you could just bring awareness to the whole body. Just do a scan of the body and notice how it feels. Notice where there might be any aches or pains, tightness, just anything that you notice. And now see if there are places that you are holding tension that maybe you can relax that tension. So again, doing a scan of the body, looking for tension and seeing if it's possible to relax it. And I'd really love for us to just maintain awareness of the way that the body is feeling throughout this entire practice. Of course, yoga is the practice of connecting the mind, body, and soul. So simply by using our mind to be aware of the body, we're connecting already our mind and our body, and that helps us to get into the soul. Just taking a little bit more time to connect to the self, bringing the attention inwards. Just really be aware, but with the eyes closed, of where you are in the room, in space. Take a moment to thank yourself for being here, for spending this time to connect your mind, body, and soul, to work on your physical, mental, emotional health. And when and if you're ready, you may go ahead and blink open the eyes. And so you can continue to face this way on the mat. So the first thing that we're going to do is just get into the joints. We're going to do it from standing. And so we're going to take our hands out in front of us, and we're just going to circle out the wrists. So we're going to inhale as we're coming up, and then we're going to exhale as we're coming down with our circles. So making fists, 3, 4, trying to make really big circles, and trying to be aware of how it feels in the wrists as we do this. So maybe you can hear some popping, some cracking. Yeah. Just really try and make them big. Notice how it feels. Notice if it starts to feel better. All right, I wasn't counting. Let's switch directions. So maybe the popping has stopped, the cracking has stopped. Maybe not. That's totally fine if it hasn't. Sometimes mine pop and crack the entire time I'm doing this. And also just appreciating the wrists and all the joints, right? All right, let's get into the elbows. So let's take the hands out in front, and we're going to inhale. We're going to touch the shoulders with the hands, and we're going to exhale, and we're going to straighten the hands. Okay, so maybe when you are typically doing a motion similar to this, then your focus is on the strengthening of your biceps or something like that. So right now, what I would like the focus on to be the elbows, right? Assessing the mobility of the elbows. Is there any pain in my elbows as I'm doing this? Do my elbows feel good as I'm doing this? Yeah? Let's do 3 more. 2, 3. All right. Now we're going to get into the shoulders. So we're going to take the hands, and we're going to put them onto the shoulders. And then as we inhale, we're going to bring the elbows together, and we're going to bring them up. And then as we exhale, we're going to bring the elbows back, try and reach them together, and bring them down. So inhaling, bringing the elbows together, bring them up. Exhale, bring the shoulder blades together, bring the elbows back. And keep going. Inhale, exhale, 3. Inhale, exhale, 4. Inhale, exhale, 5. Inhale, exhale, 6. Inhale, exhale, 7. Inhale, exhale, 8. Inhale, exhale, 9. Inhale, exhale, 10. Now we're going to switch directions. So now we're inhaling as we're bringing our elbows up, bring the shoulder blades together, and then we bring them around in the front. We touch them together as much as we can, and we exhale as we come down. So inhale up, Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Now, we're going to get into the knees and the ankles here, which we're going to do by squatting. So maybe you are familiar with squatting. Maybe that's something that you do quite a bit. But guess what? We're doing it without holding any weight. We're doing it with just our bodies. And we're actually going to kind of break the rules. We're going to squat as much down as possible. So we're going to bring our butt as far down to the floor as we possibly can. Okay? So again, we are bringing our attention to the knees here. And then when we come up on the up, then we're going to raise up onto the balls of the feet. So now we're bringing attention to the ankles. And then we're going to go back down. So let's bring the hands to heart center. And let's squat it. Maybe we can take the feet a little bit wider. However feels comfortable for you. I have them like slightly wider than my hips are. Yeah. And so let's squat all the way down. And we're doing the same kind of thing that we are trying to really be sitting back here, right? So maybe if the toes can lift up off of the floor, that might be nice. So squatting all the way back, and then bending the knees, bending the knees, bending the knees. Ooh, see how far we can get the butt down toward the floor. And then let's inhale and come up onto the toes. And let's hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's bring the heels down and squat it down again, coming all the way down, bringing the butt down as far as we can, down toward the floor. And inhaling up. And coming up onto the toes. 2, 3, 4, 5. Bringing the heels down. Bring the butt down toward the floor, really concentrating on how the knees feel here. Oh, can we do it? Can we do it? Can we do it? Relaxing the knees. And inhale up. And coming up onto the toes, and let's make it a little bit faster now. So squatting down, bring the butt down, standing up, coming up onto the toes, squatting down, bring the butt down. Woo! Standing up, coming up onto the toes. Squat down, bring the butt down. Stand it up, come up on the toes. And squat it down. Stand it up, come up on the toes. Squat it down. Woo! Stand it up, come up on the toes. And let's see what happens if we now turn our feet out slightly. So bringing the toes out farther from the heels now. So now we have a little bit more opening of our hips here. Yeah? And we're going to do the same kind of movement. So now we're kind of coming into more of a yogi squat. And so your toes can be out 45 degrees. They can be out 90 degrees if you have quite a bit of mobility. Woo! Maybe you don't have balance. Or they can just be out 10 degrees, right? Whatever feels comfortable for you in this moment. All right? And let's find our comfortable with distance. And let's go ahead and squat it down. And stand it up. And again, coming up onto the toes. And squat it down. Stand it up and come up on the toes. Squat it down. Inhale on the toes. Exhale, squat it down. Inhale on the toes. Exhale, squat it down. Inhale to the toes. Exhale, squat it down. Inhale to the toes. I was not counting at all. Let's do 3 more. To the toes. Squat it down. To the toes. 2 more. 2. And last one. All right. Beautiful. Now, let's come back to our front of our mat here. And now we're going to get into some classic yoga poses, continuing to use our strength to increase our mobility. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to step back with the left foot. So bend the knees, step back with the left foot. And I would like for the back foot to be about 45 degrees out. And it's also about like if your legs are on 2 separate tracks. So if you have the feet hip width distance apart and then you step the left foot back and you have it about 45 degrees. And I'd really love it if you could try to get it at that 45 degrees. And then what we want is we want for our hips to be both still facing toward the front. Okay, so maybe already just standing here, then that's enough. Yeah? It's going to feel like a lot, I think, on the back hip when the foot is out 45 degrees, but it's really important in this Warrior One that we have that and that we are really getting this movement that is not typical, that we don't typically get from really anything else, and that is super helpful towards beginning to open up the hips. And so now we're going to start to bend into our front leg. And as we bend into the front leg, we're going to continue to keep the hips as square as possible. So you might notice I'm sliding my right foot forward more now, because what we want here is we want for the knee to be about directly above the ankle, if possible. And so assessing the mobility, and okay, how does it feel in my knees? How does it feel in my ankles? How does it feel in my hips? Can I go deeper? Can I go deeper? And so really just trying to maintain alignment as you see how far forward you can get with the front foot. And so, of course, we're using a lot of strength here, right? But guess what we're also doing? We're opening up this back hip quite a bit. Yeah, and we're also working on this hamstring, right? We're working on a lot of our mobility as well. Okay, and so then if it feels good there, then let's go ahead and bring the arms up and let's hold it wherever we find. So let's try and keep the ribs so that they're pretty in, and then we bring the arms up so that they're almost directly overhead, slightly in front, and then we look up at the hands and hold 1. Breathing deeply. 2. 3. 4. 5. All right, let's see if we can step all the way forward with the left foot and come back to neutral. Beautiful. Now let's try it on the other side. So now stepping back with the right foot, turning it out 45 degrees, and moving the hips back so that they're square. So we have both hips about in line with each other, both facing the front. Okay, let's check our alignment, and now let's start to bend into the front leg. So maybe we want to bring it forward slightly, maybe not. Okay, so maybe it stays right here. And so bending the front leg, bending, bending. And then as we're bending the front leg, we're continuing to pull forward with the right hip and back with the left hip. So we're keeping those hips so that they are in line with each other. Checking to make sure I'm not cheating and having our back foot a little bit too far in. All right. And so then when we find our position, then we go ahead and we bring our arms up And so we want to also be pressing into the back of the back foot as well, right? So we're really trying to use the entire feet here. This is really a lot of strength, right? And bringing the arms up, tucking the ribs in, looking up toward the hands, and holding for 5 breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And step all the way forward to the right foot. Woo! All right. Now let's go into Warrior 2. So Warrior 2, we're going to be even more opening up the hips. And I'm going to tell you something. Right now, when I'm just doing this without doing like I would normally do for a warm-up, my body is way less open. It's way more tight than it normally would be if I had done something to warm up before getting to this. So if you are feeling quite tight here, don't be discouraged. We're going to continue to move, and then we're going to come back to it, and we're going to see if it feels different. Okay? Beautiful. All right. So now, again, we're going to step back with the left foot. Now we're going to turn our left foot out 90 degrees. And we're going to turn our hips so that they are facing the side of the mat. So our front foot is still facing the front of the mat. Our back foot is parallel to the back of the mat. And so again, we are putting weight on the back of our back foot as much as we are in the front. And now what we're going to do is we're going to bend into the front leg, trying to continue to keep the hips square here. And we're trying to keep our upper body nice and straight here, so we don't want to be leaning forward this way. We don't want to be leaning backwards this way. So sliding the front foot as much as we can. And again, we want for our right knee to be above the right ankle. And we want for our right knee to make sure that it's not sinking over our left ankle. We really, really want to make sure that it's back here. Okay, so if you're here and that feels nice, that's totally fine. Okay, but I want you to keep trying to go deeper, 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 deeper. I want you to reach the maximum capacity that you have in your body right now. Yeah? And then I want you to be aware of where it is so that next time you can see what it feels like. And let's reach the arms out. Be nice and strong with our fingers, reaching our fingers out nice and far. And then looking over the right hand. And let's hold for 1. Breathing deeply through the nose. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. And let's step it all the way forward with the left foot. And now we're going to try the other side. So let's step back with the right foot. And I will turn to face you. So be stepping back with your right foot. And now we're going to be on the left side. So now we have our right foot is perpendicular to our left foot. So our left foot is still pointing toward the front of the mat. The right foot is parallel to the back of the mat. We want our hips as square as possible to the side of the mat. And then we start to bend into the front leg. And so again, really, really making sure that our left knee is back and above the left ankle. It's not coming forward from the left ankle. Our upper body is nice and straight. So not leaning this way, not leaning this way. Woo! Once we get to what feels good right now, let's reach the arms out. Look over the left hand, nice and strong in the fingers. Putting weight into the back of the back foot as well. And holding for 1. Breathing deeply through the nose. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. And let's step it forward. Oh, no, I did it the wrong way. Step it forward to the right foot. Okay. Beautiful. Now we're going to try triangle pose. Triangle is one of the first poses of yoga. It's really nice for getting into the hips and the hamstrings. So we're going to step back with the left foot, and then we're going to turn our left foot. So now the left foot can be either 90 degrees or it can be 45 degrees, depending on your mobility, depending on what feels good for you right now. So now we either have such that our right foot and our left foot are perpendicular to each other again, or that the left one is in slightly. And we're in a shorter stance now than we were in our Warrior 2. So about 3 to 4 feet, depending on your height, distance apart, something that feels comfortable. And again, we really want for our hips to be squared toward the side of the mat here. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to lean our left hip over to the left, and then we're going to take the upper body down, and we're going to open the arms, and we're going to try to bring our right hand down toward the floor. And so if you can reach all the way down to the floor, that's amazing. Otherwise, just stop wherever you can, such that your hips are still square to the side of the mat. So if your hip starts to come in this way and your hand is down farther toward the floor, pull it back and then see how that feels. Yeah? Okay, so you can be hovering, and then if you find, oh my gosh, actually I have a lot of mobility here, then you can take your right hand and you can bring it behind your right foot or in front of your right foot, and you can place it all the way down onto the mat, or you can grab a hold of your right big toe and do it that way. So traditionally, the hatha style, we would have our right hand behind our right foot. In Ashtanga, we're holding onto our right big toe. And so we want that. If our butt cheeks were against a wall, then they would both be against the wall, and so would our shoulders. Basically, our entire body would be against the wall. And then we're looking up at the left hand here. And let's hold for 5 breaths, breathing nice and deeply through the nose. Pulling back on the left hip, keeping our shoulders nice and far away from the ears. All right, let's inhale it up. And step the left foot forward. And now we're going to step the right foot back. So again, I'm going to turn around. And now we're going to the left. So now we have our left foot. So it is facing the front of the mat. Our right foot is facing the side of the mat. We're about 3 to 4 feet distance apart with our feet here, depending on our height and our mobility and our desire. Reach the arms out, take our right hip, send it over to the right slightly, and then begin to bring the left hand down toward the floor, finding where it feels good, such that our hips are still nice and square. Our butt cheeks would both be against a wall if there were a wall behind us. And so if you're up here, that's amazing. If you're here, anywhere that you are, that's amazing. Okay? And if you find, oh my gosh, I can reach the floor, go ahead and try and reach the floor behind you. Or grab a hold of your left big toe and we'll reach the right hand up, bringing the shoulders away from the ears, creating a nice space between the right hip and the right armpit, pulling back on the right hip, looking up, and holding for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and circle it up and step the right foot forward. And now let's try pyramid pose. So again, we're going to step our left foot back. And now we have our left foot, so that is 45 degrees out. Our right foot is pointing forwards. Again, our hips are nice and square. And now we're going to also be working on our shoulders a little bit. So a nice way to take pyramid pose is by taking reverse prayer, by taking our hands together like this in the back. However, if that's difficult, you can try and grab hold of your elbows with opposite hands or anywhere along the arms that you can, so that your shoulders are pulled back here. And so then taking whichever variation we want with our hands, then making sure the hips are nice and square, so pulling forward on the left hip, pulling back on the right hip, and then we're going to keep a flat back here. So we're coming forward with a nice flat back. And do not make the back round here. Continue for the back to be flat. And then if you can get to the point that your belly makes contact with the right leg, you can have a little bit of rounding, just because that's how it makes sense to be. But only at that point. Until then, I really want it to be nice and straight. And if you notice me doing weird things in my eyes, it's because I have bug spray in my eyes because of the sweat. And so we're looking toward our right big toe here, if possible. And let's hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, let's inhale it up. And let's step the left foot forward. You can take the hands down if you want, but we're going to the other side. We're going to do the same thing again. And let's step the right foot back. So now the right foot is at 45 degrees. The left foot is facing forward. Again, taking whatever position we want with our hands behind our back. So either in our reverse prayer, holding onto the elbows, holding onto anywhere on the arms that feels nice. And pulling forward with the right hip, pulling back with the left hip, and folding, meaning nice flat back, over the left leg, and stopping wherever you can no longer keep back flat until you get the belly over the left leg, looking down toward the left big toe, and holding for 5 breaths, breathing nice and deeply through the nose. All right, and let's inhale it up. And let's step the right foot forward. Beautiful. All right, now we're going to see how it feels to go into sun salutation now. I'm going to do a couple times through sun salutation, and then we're going to do all of these poses again, but we're going to do them in a flow, and we're going to notice while we're in the flow if there are any differences in how open we feel and how the body feels. All right, so sun salutations. Let's see. Let's do Ashtanga style. So let's take our big toes together, heels slightly apart. Take the hands down to the side. And then inhale, bring the arms up, look up toward the hands. Exhale, fold forward, again, keeping the back nice and flat here. If it's difficult to have the back flat, then go ahead and bend the knees in order to reach the floor. Inhale, flatten the back more, either taking the hands up to the shins, or if you have more mobility, the hands can be on the floor. Exhale, plant the hands, step the right foot back and then the left foot to meet it, and then come down into chaturanga, so nice bent elbows here. Untuck the toes, and then inhale into upward dog. So we have our hips floating here, our shoulders are pulled back, and we have a nice arch in the back. So if this is difficult for your back, then your arms can still be bent here. So here. And then exhale, we're going to tuck the toes and come into downward dog. And we're going to hold our downward dog here. So we're really, really trying to reach the heels down toward the floor in our downward dog. Yeah. So if they're up here, then that's totally fine. And I would really love it if you could be working them down toward the floor. So you want our heels to be tucked behind the toes. So our feet are about hip width distance apart here. Our knees are trying to be straight. If they're bent, then that's also okay, but we're trying to get them toward being straight. Our hands are about shoulders width distance apart. Our pointer fingers are pointing forward. Our armpits are looking toward each other. So we're creating a nice space between the ears and the shoulders by having our armpits looking toward each other. And then we're sending our tailbone up and back to give us a nice flat back here. All right, let's inhale and step forward with the right foot and then forward with the left foot, coming into, again, our flat back. So keeping the back nice and flat all the way to the head, and then bringing the head up and looking forward. So wherever you need to be with your hands on your legs is totally fine. Exhale, fold forward. Again, keeping the back nice and flat if possible. So if that means bending the knees, that is totally fine. Inhale, roll up to standing. We'll reach the hands up overhead. Exhale, bring the hands to heart center. All right. I really should not have put bug spray on my face, but yesterday they were trying to bite my face, so now I get bug spray in my mouth instead of bugs. All right, well, here we go. Let's do that again. Let's inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold it forward, nice flat back. Inhale, flattening the back to bring the head up. Exhale, plant the hands, step the left foot back and then the right foot to meet it, coming all the way down, bending the elbows, coming into chaturanga, looking forward here. Untuck the toes and then push up into upward dog. Straighten the elbows as much as you can, keeping the shoulders down. Exhale, tuck the toes and push back into downward dog. Bringing the heels down toward the floor if possible, straightening the knees if possible. Finding our alignment here again, tucking the heels behind the toes. Having our feet hip width distance, our hands, our shoulders width distance. We're looking up toward the navel. Nice space between our shoulders and our ears. All right, let's step the left foot forward, right foot to meet it. Flatten the back and look forward. Exhale, forward fold, bending the knees if necessary. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. Reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, bring the hands to heart center. All right, let's do it one more time. And if possible now, then we are going to see if we can jump back and then jump forward instead of stepping. All right, so let's inhale, reach the hands up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flatten the back, look forward. Exhale, plant the hands if possible, and then see if you can lift the feet up and then move them back into chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing, lifting the hips up off the floor, straighten the elbows as much as possible. Exhale, tuck the toes, coming into our downward dog and holding our downward dog here. See if you can remember the alignment that I told you. Also notice bringing attention now to the body as we rest in downward dog, and see if this one feels any different than the first one. Is it easier to get your heels down? Is it easier to straighten your legs? Does your body feel more open? All right, let's move it forward. So let's look toward the hands, come up onto the toes if you weren't already there, and then let's hop it forward into our flat back with our head up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, roll it up, reach the hands up overhead. Exhale, bring the hands to heart center. All right. Now, we're going to go through a little flow of the poses that we did at the beginning, and we're going to notice how it feels. But this time, we're going to do it from downward dog and stepping forward instead of stepping backwards. Yeah? So we're going to go down again with our sun salutation. We're going to go to downward dog, and then we're going to move from there. All right? Let's do it. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flatten the back, look forward. Exhale, plant the hands and move it back to chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing, straightening the elbows as much as possible. Exhale, back to downward facing. Now, let's step the right foot forward between the hands if possible. Turn the left foot out 45 degrees, keeping the hips square here already. And then sweep the hands onto the floor if possible and come up into our warrior one. Hold for one breath. Inhale, open the arms. Exhale, rotate the back foot until it's open 90 degrees. Exhale, coming into warrior two. Adjusting the feet if necessary. Inhale, set the left foot forward. Exhale, coming into our triangle. Inhale, stand it up. Rotate toward the front, taking our hands behind the back however we need. Exhale, folding over the front leg into our pyramid. Inhale, stand it up. Exhale, step it forward. Untuck the hands. And let's try the other side. Here we go. I'm going to move back slightly. Okay. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flatten the back, look forward. Exhale, plant the hands and see if you can move it back to chaturanga. Inhale, straighten the arms, upward facing. Exhale, coming back to downward facing. Inhale, step the left foot forward now between the hands. Turn the right foot out 45 degrees. Square the hips here. Inhale, up to warrior one. Hold for one breath. Inhale, straighten the leg, open the arms. Step the feet how they need to be for warrior two. Exhale into warrior two. Inhale, step the left foot forward more, turning the foot however you need it to be for triangle. And exhale into triangle. Inhale, stand it up. Turn the feet how they need to be for pyramid, so 45 degrees with the back foot nice and forward with the front foot, taking the hands behind the back. And exhale, folding over the front leg. Inhale, stand it up. Exhale, step it forward. All right, so let's do it one more time. This time, let's hold for 2 breaths in each pose. And so now we're again taking this time to reassess, are there any differences? Do I feel more open? And observe. Yeah? All right, let's bring the hands to heart center. And here we go. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flatten the back, look forward. Exhale, plant the hands and move it back to chaturanga. Inhale, straighten the arms as much as possible, upward facing. Exhale, tuck the toes, push it back to downward facing. Inhale, step the right foot forward, turn the left foot out 45 degrees. And coming up into our warrior one, let's hold warrior one for 2 breaths. Keeping the hips nice and square, pulling forward on the left hip, back on the right hip. Inhale, straighten the arms, adjust the feet so that the back foot is now 90 degrees. And exhale into our warrior two, keeping the hips square to the side, looking over our right hand, making sure that we're pulling back on our right knee. Holding for 2 breaths. Inhale, step the left foot forward, either taking our left foot so it is 90 degrees or it's 45 degrees. Exhale, bringing the right hand down toward the floor. So hovering or coming all the way down to the floor, whichever feels good. Holding for 2 breaths, assessing how it feels in the body. Inhale, come up to standing. Exhale, turn the foot the back foot so it's 45 degrees. Take the hands behind the back, however feels comfortable for you. Make sure that the hips are nice and square toward the front. And exhale, fold over the front leg. Holding for 2 breaths. Again, assessing our mobility here, assessing the whole body. Inhale, come up to standing. Exhale, step the left foot forward, take the hands down. And let's do the other side. Let's bring the hands to heart center. And here we go. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flatten the back, look forward. Exhale, plant the hands and move it back to chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Turn the right foot out 45 degrees. Step the left foot forward into warrior one. Sweeping the hands and bringing the hands up, making sure our hips are nice and square here. Our knee is as much over our left ankle as possible. 1, 2, inhale, straighten the left leg, adjust the feet so that the back foot is 90 degrees, and exhale, coming into warrior two here, making sure that the upper body is nice and straight, not leaning too far in one direction. Make sure that the left knee is back over the left heel. 2, inhale, step the right foot forward, so either 90 degrees or 45 degrees with the right foot. And exhale, coming into our triangle, having our hand wherever it needs to be on the leg here, or if possible, taking our hand behind our leg. 2, inhale, coming up to standing, rotating the back foot, so now it's 45 degrees, taking the hands behind the back, and exhaling over the left leg, keeping your hips nice and square, pulling forward on the right hip, back on the left hip. Inhale it up, and exhale, step it forward with the right leg. All right, beautiful. Now we're going to take it down to the floor. We're going to stretch out a little bit so we can stretch those muscles that we just used to get into our bodies. And then we're going to take Shavasana. All right, here we go. Again, going through that sun salutation, and again, assessing our mobility as we do so. So we're going to stop in downward dog, and then we're going to step forward into our low lunges. All right, here we go. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back, look forward. Exhale, plant the hands and move it back to chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Inhale, let's lift the right foot up as much as possible, keeping the hips square. And then exhale, step the right foot between the hands and bring the left knee down to the floor. You can either keep the back toe tucked here or untuck it, whichever feels more comfortable for you. And so now we are really bringing attention to how we feel in our hips, how we feel in our knees. So I like to go quite far over my ankle with my knee in low lunge because it feels nice for my knees, it feels nice for my hips. However, if it feels more comfortable for you to be up here, that is totally fine. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to search for the sensation of the stretch on our back hip flexor and on the front hamstring. Okay, so whatever feels good for you, and let's hold it there. And I like to bounce here, so if you want to try bouncing, it really helps to loosen up the hip flexors a little bit if you put some bouncing in there. Feels a little bit funky, but it works. All right. All right, and let's come back and let's straighten the right leg. And now we're sitting back more onto the left leg, so finding a half split here. And just maybe moving out the hips, so moving the hips back and forth. If you can try and arch and round. You don't need to though. Just really trying to now get the stretch in the right hamstring here. And let's see if we can come down over the right leg here. Can't help it. If a mosquito goes on me, I just... All right. And let's come back forward again. So coming back to our low lunge. And now I want us to use the left hand down on the floor, if possible. So you can be up on the fingertips if that feels more comfortable. And then bend the left knee. And I'm going to reach back, hold onto the left foot, and then gently push the left foot toward the glutes here. So what we want here is for it to be stretching our quads, okay, because we just worked on our legs quite a bit. So you do not need to have it pushed as far forward as I am. Enjoying the stretch. Maybe you don't stretch that much, so maybe it's quite intense. All right, let's release. And let's tuck the back toes. And let's see if possible we can come up onto the back toes and then take the right foot out from underneath us, hovering it, and then inhale the right foot up toward the ceiling and exhale it down. And if that was difficult, that's totally fine. All right, let's do the other side. Inhale, we'll reach the left foot up, keeping the hips square. Exhale, step the left foot forward, coming into our low lunge here. So either keeping the back toe tucked or untucking it, whichever feels best. And again, you can be up here. What we want is to be getting this nice stretch on our back hip flexor here. Okay, so wherever you need to be to get that stretch on the hip flexor while keeping the rest of the body feeling good, go there. Yeah. And if you want to bounce it out, I love bouncing it out. I highly recommend bouncing it out anytime possible. Oh my goodness. It is hot today, but it's not raining, so I'm not going to complain about the heat, that is for sure. It's been raining almost every single day for weeks now. So today it was not raining, and I was like, all right, let me get some videos done. All right, let's straighten the left leg and come into a half split here. So moving out to the hips, moving them back and forth. Trying to feel different sensations in different parts of that front hamstring as you move the hips back and forth. And then folding over the front leg if it feels good. All right, And tucking the back toes, lifting up the left foot, and inhaling the left foot up toward the ceiling, and exhale it down. Alright. And let's come down onto the knees here, and then come around onto the butt. I'm going to stretch out the glutes. So we will take the right foot over the left knee. If that is enough stretch, you can totally leave it here, trying to keep the back nice and straight. Or if you want a little bit more, you can go ahead and lie it back. So coming onto the back and then taking the hands, bringing them onto the left shin here, and then pulling back on the left shin. And if you want, you can go ahead and straighten the left leg here as well. Honestly, I feel more of a stretch when I keep the leg bent, so I always keep it bent here. And if you'd like, you can pushing back on the right knee with the right elbow to get a bit more of a stretch in the glutes there. Alright, let's bring it up. And switch legs. So now taking the left leg, crossing it over the right, and sitting up nice and straight. And then if we want to rock it back, we can. So coming onto the back, grabbing hold of the right shin, and pulling the right leg toward us, using the left elbow to keep the left knee out. And let's rock it up. Okay. Now let's take a forward fold here. So taking the feet out in front and folding over our legs. So when I say folding, I mean that we are folding as if we are a piece of paper and we're folding. Yeah. So again, keeping the back as straight as possible here as we come down over the legs. And if it gets to the point that you feel that you need to round your back, then stop there. Okay? When you round the back here, you're going to put strain on the back, and then you're going to have back pain. And we don't want back pain. We're trying to eliminate pain by doing this. Yeah? So keeping the back flat, 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 flat. If then it gets to the point, again, that you can have your belly over your thighs, then at that point you can begin to round forward. So assessing your mobility here, seeing how it feels now compared to how it did at the start. And to breathe into any tension that you might feel, and then exhale and release it. Alright, let's inhale it up. And let's just, okay. I actually had in my mind before I started doing this that we were going to also work on the back, but I think we'll just do that in a completely different video. So let's come down onto the back. And we're just going to find our twists here. So let's take the knees up toward the chest, and then take the knees and bring them over to the left, looking over to the right, bringing our right shoulder down toward the mat. If you like to go deeper in your twist here, you can also have the bottom leg, in this case is the left leg, straight, and have the right knee down toward the floor. And continuing to inhale and search for tension, and exhale it out. And let's bring it back to center. And taking both legs and sending them over to the right, looking over to the left, taking the left shoulder down to the mat. Or if you have the mobility, you can have the right leg straight and the left leg is crossed over. Continuing to inhale and look for tension, and exhale to release it. And let's inhale back to center. And let's take Shavasana, huh? Let's take our feet out nice and wide. Well, about the width of the mat. Allow our hands to rest by our sides. And finding relaxation. Relaxing the tips of the toes. Relaxing the toe joints. Relaxing the tops of the feet. Relaxing the soles of the feet. Relaxing the ankles. Relaxing the shins and the calves. Relaxing the knees and the space around the knees. Relaxing the quads and the hamstrings. Relaxing the glutes, the hips, the hip flexors. Relaxing the sex. Relaxing the space below the belly button and the lower back. Relaxing the space around the belly button and the middle back. Relaxing the space above the belly button. Relaxing the ribs, the back of the ribs, chest, the lungs, heart, relaxing the collarbone, the upper back, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the biceps and the triceps, relaxing the elbows, relaxing the forearms, relaxing the wrists, relaxing the palms and the backs of the hands, relaxing the knuckles and the fingers, the fingertips, relaxing the neck and the back of the neck, relaxing the jaw, relaxing the mouth, the teeth, the tongue, the lips, relaxing the cheeks, the cheekbones, relaxing the nose, and the ears, relaxing the eyes, the eyebrows, the space between the eyebrows, relaxing the forehead, the crown of the head, reaching above the crown of the head to relax the space above it, relaxing the entire body. And let's take the next inhale a bit deeper, bringing the self back into the body. And begin to find some movement in the fingers and the toes, and the wrists and the ankle. Taking the fingers, interlacing them and reaching them up over the head, And taking the feet together and reaching them in the opposite direction of the hands. Inhale deeply. Exhale and sigh it all out. And continuing to keep the eyes closed, roll over onto one side using the arm as a pillow underneath your head. And continuing to keep the eyes closed, come on up to a seated position. Taking the hands to heart center or at your knees. And before opening the eyes, I would love it if you could once again scan through the body and notice how it feels. So really working on heightening our awareness of the body. Not only now, but throughout our entire life. And once again, come back to gratitude, thanking yourself for taking this time for yourself. It's so important for everyone in the world to take time for themselves, take time to really be focusing on the connection of the mind, body, and soul, to be focusing on the physical, mental, and emotional health. And the more people who do that, the higher we will raise the vibration of the planet and the better the world will be. And when and if you feel ready, you may go ahead and blink open your eyes. Thank you so much for being here with me, for practicing with me, for trusting me, for allowing me to guide you. As I mentioned before, I did have more in my mind that we might do today. So as we were coming out of Shavasana, I thought, okay, well, you know what, I'll just make it a series. So I will be making this into a series of using the strength to open the body. And I already have ideas for what we're going to do next, so I promise that I'll actually do it as a series. But there are a lot of things that I am working on, so don't expect it tomorrow, but it is coming, I swear. Okay. Anyway, thank you again. With so much love. Namaste.